Good Friday
Hey,
before
hey.
Halloween. How you doing?
Good,
Hey,
good,
wait, we
good.
have a friend. Look, we have a friend. He's flying right by. And, he's probably going to be coming back the other way. So, it is the Friday before Halloween, and I forgot to go buy candy. Do you have candy?
Oh, I have a lot of candy. Because I'm very fortunate, kind of. I have a child who
Oh,
doesn't eat candy. So I can have it all for
you have
myself.
it all for yourself.
I
Oh,
probably have the only child in the world that doesn't eat candy.
she just doesn't like it?
Doesn't like it.
Interesting. I'll
So I
trade.
always have a lot of candy for myself.
Okay. All right. So, just in case you don't know who we are, my name is Darren Pope, and this over here is Victor Farsick, and we are the co-host of a podcast called DevOps Paradox, not surprisingly. And on Fridays, we do this live stream to talk about just whatever we saw throughout the week. Now, you've had a really busy week, I think. Every week's
Yeah.
been busy, but this one I think was more busy. This was KubeCon level week, right? Or it wasn't KubeCon this week, but that level.
Yeah, kind of, but for different reasons. More
Yeah.
because of so much accumulated stuff that I couldn't do, and then I had kind of relatively calm week to do all the weeks of work that that was accumulated. So
Right. So that's good. We're here. We are moving forward, and I have my drink. Did I have orange last week? Do you remember? Was I still on lime last week? I don't remember.
I have no idea.
Okay. Speaking of orange, well, we'll see that in just a moment. Let's talk about this week's podcast. The signs of high progress in work. I've gotten a lot of comments about this episode. I haven't checked the statistics on it, but a lot of people seem to have
Okay,
liked it. Yeah,
okay.
they were laughing and agreeing and sort of shaking their heads all at the same time.
How do you know that they
So
were shaking their heads?
that's
Are you
what they told.
spying on people now?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're all part of the metaverse, right?
Oh yeah, I still haven't discovered what it is, but it's not gonna be good. That's the only thing I know.
Anyway, signs of hopper. So we talked about two. One was about a tweet, and one was about a blog post, or they were all rolled up in there. The Kanbanded or Kanbanded, however you want to say it, is still funny to me. Right? You've got
Oh yeah.
issues, and you're assigning issues to people that have left the company. That's there were just a lot there. So if you haven't gone, actually, since I'm sharing it here, I couldn't come up with a good thing. So high work in progress. The only thing I could come up with was I was thinking construction, or I was trying to find bodies, right? Finding lots of bodies, not bodies like dead bodies, but
Okay.
you know,
You got me worried for a second.
yeah,
I thought that you were picturing those cranes in excavation site
yeah.
finding dead bodies. Okay.
Actually, that's a very interesting idea for a book or a story. Okay, I'll save that for later. But the links to the tweet and the blog post are buried down here in the show notes. So if you want to go back and see them, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and bring up. I want to stay here and talk about this for just a second, just because it's so painful. This is going to be really hard to see. But let's just say we went through probably 6 or 7 of these, and we talked about the Kanban and stuff. But the signs of high work in progress, we laughed about a lot of them because they're so true. But I wanted to find, where is it? There was one that I really wanted to call out, and now plans go stale. That's the one I was wanting to talk about. Plans go stale. Lots of planning, inventory planning in progress.
Uh,
This is the sign of agile gone horribly wrong. Or when people think they're doing agile and they're doing waterfall. I,
yeah, I mean it's a sign of doing something wrong.
yeah.
Whether you call it agile, whether you call it waterfall or whatever, it doesn't make a difference anymore. You're just doing things wrong. It's almost sad that we need to put words like agile so that to distinguish wrong from not wrong.
I'll be polite. I won't say anything else about Agilists today. Well, maybe not. Oh, yes, and interrupted by reactive silver bullets. That's the other one that we did not talk about. This just can't wait. Just because something's an emergency for you does not mean it's an emergency for me. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Now, if the building is burning down, literally, get out, right? There's certain things that it becomes an emergency for everybody. But your lack of planning, not an emergency for me.
no, this just can't wait. That's probably my favorite, because the full sentence should be, we've been waiting for so long, and now this cannot wait anymore. That's what is really happening. Like, okay, put it on hold for a long time, and then you need to do it for tomorrow.
Yep. So go check out this tweet. Go take a look at the blog post about Kanban, which is still one of the best reads I had seen. And it's an older blog post too, but it was still just, it was so good. Well, no, actually it was so bad it was good, but not like bad B movies like Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Did you ever watch that one?
Not that one.
Okay. You should, just not with your daughter.
Killer Clowns.
Killer
You're not
Clowns.
talking about Plan 9 Outer Space.
No, not that one. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. You need to watch that too. Just not with your daughter around. Just don't do that.
Is it one of those, it's so bad that it's good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just, again, not with your daughter around. I don't even let my 29-year-old daughter see it with me. So it's just not going to happen. Okay, so anyway, let's move on. GitHub's Universe was this week. And they talked about lots of different things here. I'm going to jump around here just a little bit. Improved daily flow, new GitHub issues is now public beta. Thumbs up. Good thing. Labels, automatic release notes. So this could change how it's actually, or for GitHub discussions. That's just something else we got to talk about too, about GitHub discussions, because that doesn't get a whole lot of press right now.
Yeah, but that's a potential replacement for Slack.
Yes, it is.
And I don't mean Slack like how we use it in DevOps Toolkit, but I mean
Right.
or in a software organization, software factory type of company, we use Slack mostly as because we don't have something like that.
Yeah.
Most of conversations are around some issue, something.
It's and I completely forgot to take a look at the chat, and I apologize. Ravi, good to see you.
Yeah, Ravi.
Jivadan, you actually have something here. We went from Scrum to Kanban and back to Scrum within 12 months as we experimented and also tried 2-day sprints. Okay. Don't get me started on sprints, because just don't get me started on sprints. I believe that, I will state it this way. I believe a 2-week sprint is way too long. And I believe just getting work done is what matters. Call it a sprint or not. But here's my problem with the word sprint. We're going to go back to Agile here for a second. Sorry. Here's what's wrong with sprint. If you have a sprint, and then you have another sprint, and you have another sprint, and you have another sprint, you're never freaking stopping. It's not that's not sustainable. I'm sorry. Just don't use the word sprint. Like, just call it, the bucket for the week, or the bucket for this time frame. Don't call it a sprint. All right, anyway. Marcin, what is up? Okay, so GitHub discussions. This is going to become a bigger deal, I think. Improved CI/CD with GitHub Actions, mainly because it's got connectivity with OpenID. That's game-changing.
Yeah.
Command palette, which before we started today, I was trying to remember how to do it. I saw a demo of this, and it was actually really cool. But then this. Pull request merge queue. How often do you actually merge pull requests? Not as often as you probably should.
How often do you merge pull requests? As often as you open them.
Should be.
I mean, most of them. Some
Most
are
of
not
them,
merged,
yeah.
some are closed without merging, right?
So what's interesting here, and internally there's been a lot of chats about this, is doing it efficiently without updating your pull request anytime another change lands, all while ensuring the branch remains green. And there's like more documentation around this, and they talk about what a merge queue is, and they go through the whole story. And I think this is game changing because it's actually smart enough to know that if something gets broken, it will back out the PR that caused the problem. It seems to be magical, but that's that. Improvements to GitHub code spaces, GitHub Copilot for NeoVim and JetBrains, so they're extending beyond what's the name? VS Code. True.
VS Code, yeah.
Golly, it's been one of those weeks for me. Some extra code QL scanning and customer repository roles, and there's more details about each of these here. So GitHub keeps on being GitHub.
And really going hard. I have the impression that there was a relatively long period of kind of nothing special happening in GitHub since they were acquired, or maybe even before they were acquired by Microsoft. But last year or something, or it's just going like crazy. I would even go as far as to say that GitHub was probably the best purchase Microsoft ever made, and a bargain, kind of, and a cheap one.
I would second that. And also, all the stuff is already back up on demand. So you can watch all these sessions if you haven't seen it. So all the links to everything that we're going through today down in the description after the show. I will post them over there after the show today. We have a new process of preparing for shows, which actually helps me close out shows faster, which is good. CloudRun. I had to laugh, but then you brought up something interesting. So let's talk about it here. So CloudRun now supports network file systems. It's not really NSF. It's NFS, but we'll ignore that.
I was about to ask, am I going crazy or okay?
No, because as soon as I said, well, I saw that before. I sort of, I just glossed over it, and then I saw CIFS. Oh, that should be NFS.
Yeah, and the link behind it goes to network file systems.
So it's in public preview. But the reason why, at least in my opinion, the reason why this is true is because of this. And it supports a second generation execution environment that provides full Linux compatibility. And this is pretty interesting. What is this about? First generation, which featured fast cold start times. The second generation does this. Faster CPU, faster network, full Linux compatibility, which then gives you all the things. Ability to run inside of a sandbox, and then network file system. Now, it has a longer cold start, which sort of makes sense to me because of what the stack you're running on.
I mean, yeah, it still needs to mount something, so of course it's going to be slower. But what is surprising to me is that there are two possibilities there. Either I completely missed that Knative released a version that supports file system, because last time I checked, you could not mount volumes to Knative, and Knative is behind this. Or Google with CloudRun is going rogue and supporting things that really are not supported in Knative. I don't know which one of the two it is. So either I missed something in Knative, or Google is doing stuff outside. In any case, so because I know at least two companies, and a person from one of those two companies is listening very often to this podcast, that are really, really looking for something like that, just not in CloudRun.
Yeah. So I guess we'll be seeing, and it's public preview, so it's what it is. But if that's something that you might be looking for, it might be worth looking at. Because now, also with their recent meaning, was it summertime? I think it was. Where was it? It was, you could set a minimum of not 0. I can't remember what it was. I don't remember when that came out. At least I think they did. Am I confusing that with somebody else? I think they said a non-zero minimum. But I
think you might be confusing, because again, at least Knative always allowed you to specify minimum and maximum. And I'm not sure whether that existed from the get-go in CloudRun. So maybe they just added one more additional feature that exists in Knative.
I don't remember. So scratch that, whatever it was. Off we go.
Wait, go. Just one line above that.
Right here?
Yeah. Release notes XML.
Yeah, it's a RSS feed.
Okay, for RSS. Okay.
Yeah.
I got scared for a second. Okay, cool.
No, that's, again, we have talked about this before. That's how I get all the news, is I have a feed reader set up, and everything comes to me. I don't go find most of the things. Every once in a while, I find things. And then, as soon as I find out that they have a feed, I load it in my feed reader and walk away. I don't have that much time. Okay, so Notary V2 Alpha 1. Now, if you haven't kept up with Notary, it's signing. It's this whole attestation, supply chain, you name it, that's what it's about. But up until this point, it only did one thing. But now, with the V2, it signs all artifacts. Previously, it was only doing container images. But now, it does that, the bill of materials, and the scan results, which is what you would want, I would assume, because if you're going to need to attest that something is what it says it is, you need all the assets around it. So it looks like Notary V2 is starting to get there. Now, the other thing I'd forgotten about with Notary is everything's stored in an OCI registry, no matter what it is. Again,
Makes
why not?
sense.
It's at the end of the day, an OCI registry is storing tarballs, right?
Let's put it this way. Container images are basically almost the de facto standard to package anything, right? Which happens to be most of the time used to package binaries. But it's a de facto standard for package management, right? And that automatically means that container image registries should be able to handle anything packaged as container images. I'm pretty sure that behind the scenes, all those things are just images. Not only Docker image. Not only container image, sorry. Yeah.
I've been correcting people, and I'm glad I didn't have to correct you that time.
I auto-corrected myself fast.
It's a hard habit to break.
Oh, yeah.
How long before we get Notary support in managed Kubernetes offerings? I think it will come. I don't think anybody's going to go with Alpha 1. A couple people, it wouldn't surprise me if a Civo-like type provider would include that. Maybe. Yeah. Right? The smallers, if you will.
Yeah. The Google will ultimately probably eventually maybe support it. Now, AWS never supports anything open source. Unless they have to. Right? So never. There will be a AWS Notary equivalent service probably.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, this was released this week, so this is actually on my backlog to figure out how I want to play with this for other things. And yeah, he basically just called it. Yeah, just renames it and sells it back to you. Yeah, that's
exactly.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so Kyverno 1.5 came out this week. There was another 1.5 we'll get to in just a moment. No big deal. Featuring cosign. Again, sort of in the Notary, cosign, all that stuff matters. But the what's new? For each.
Kyverno. Oh.
Let's just look. We'll call it out right here. Booyah. For each.
That's absolutely needed, absolutely necessary. I have absolutely no doubt that this is absolutely needed. But then once you start putting those things, you start realizing that YAML might not be your thing. YAML might not be the good format if you need those things. That's the problem. That's the issue. YAML for each loops. Next will be other types of loops and if-else statements and what's not. And then I would ask myself, hey, why wouldn't I use a programming language instead of YAML? That's my take on it. Now, it really depends on how far, just to clarify, how far it goes, right? If there is sprinkling here and there, but still not really, and no emphasis on it, okay, why not, right? Like HCL. HCL has those things, but they're not heavily used. What is to me surprising is the question of whether should that be in Kyverno format in the first place. That's my question. Or here's an alternative. Kyverno is a Kubernetes type of tool. It's YAML, blah, blah, blah. Why not? Whoever needs it, why not use Helm? Helm does it.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
Actually,
sad.
not the use case that I saw is not necessarily because I think it iterates over the objects at runtime. But
yeah, we mentioned cosign again. It's for signed attestation provides verifiable information required for salsa. Salsa. I'm ready for chips.
salsa.
That's how they say it. Is salsa.
Yeah.
The in toto attestation format provides a blah 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 blah. So anyway. All the stuff about that. Now, this is pretty cool. A CLI test command for mutate policies. Okay. Again, anytime you can do that, that's a good thing. Dynamic webhooks. Okay, and then that's pretty much it. So, not a huge thing in 1.5, but I would say I have some feelings towards it and a couple of like, oh, that's good. I like that. So, Kyverno, 1.5.
Nice.
All right. Now, DigitalOcean has a conference coming up in a couple of weeks. Now, you might be saying to yourself, why do we care? Because of the agenda is why you might care. We've talked about the smaller, I can't remember, Linode has a name for it that sort of groups them and DigitalOcean into that same thing. But what you're going to see, now it is a 2-day event. One day's focused towards the Americas, 1 day focused towards APAC and EMEA.
Probably the same agenda, right? Or something
no,
like that.
different agendas.
Oh, no.
Different
agenda? Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Strange.
Yeah, so 3 ways to spin up a Kubernetes cluster. How to build a scalable virtual classroom on DigitalOcean. You look at that, you'll see what that's
Probably
about.
with Kubernetes that was removed from the title, right?
From 0 to 3 million deployments, scaling app platform on Kubernetes. Bootstrapping a production-ready cluster with DigitalOcean's Kubernetes starter kit. Do you see a theme? And then there's something with blockchain. But there's probably Kubernetes with the blockchain stuff, right? So that is... And it's a reasonably short day if you take a look at it from a US perspective. It's from 11 until 3, I think. Yeah, 3. So it's 4 hours. And the same thing on the next day, it's a 4-hour. And then again, should startups adopt Kubernetes? Everything you want to know about GitOps, Kubernetes.
Which happens to work only in Kubernetes, yes.
The future of Kubernetes at DigitalOcean. Security on autopilot. Again. So this is going to be an interesting day. That's all I'm going to say, or interesting 2 days.
Oh, yeah. So Kubernetes and Kubernetes and Kubernetes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
Makes sense because, at this point, I think that only people who have difficulties to move to Kubernetes are not planning to move to Kubernetes. And when I say difficulties, I mean any company that has more than 100 employees and exists for more than 3 years has those difficulties for part of the workloads. But those are not customers of DigitalOcean. DigitalOcean are small, young companies, sometimes often individuals, and they have no reason, no legacy to worry about, right? No strong reason not to be in DigitalOcean. No strong reason not to be in Kubernetes. I would suspect that is becoming their main business, that not really VMs anymore and whatever else they have.
Yep. So sign up for that. It is, and they're not paying us, so don't worry about that. I just thought it was interesting based on the agenda. Was just
hey,
like,
DigitalOcean, if you want to pay us, we wouldn't really oppose it strongly.
yeah. You can register now, and it is, I'll click on it just to see how quickly it loads. I wonder if the registration is running on Kubernetes. So you have 15 minutes to sign up. Are you a DigitalOcean customer? They don't ask a whole lot, and it's all very reasonable. So that's that. Let's go to another 1.5 this week. Oh, by the way, I left the name off. Crossplane. Have you ever heard of Crossplane?
Wait.
Okay. Here's the. I did ask Victor if he was willing to talk about it a little bit, and it wasn't that interesting to me. So for the people at Upbound, I apologize for saying that, but it was primarily documentation.
Yes.
Right? So that's the big thing, trying to get things ready. Documentation, 2 thumbs up. By the way, there's a new book that just came out last week before last, called Docs for Developers. Phenomenal read from A Press.
Oh.
Really, really good read. But the reason why I wanted to talk about this a little bit is the upcoming API removals. So coming in the next big version, 0.6, at least from a minor perspective, these are gone. These are gone. So let's talk about that for just a minute.
Yeah, it's mature. Now, this is not to be confused. To begin with, this is not a huge release because most of the effort goes to providers, right? At least right now. Not that much into core Crossplane. Providers are basically what allows you to do something with some provider. And if you take a look at the names of those that are being deprecated in as beta 1, they're all from core Crossplane, right? So it's just that part is mature. Now, maturity of providers, that really depends on many different circumstances, right?
Right.
The good news, I don't know whether it's written there somewhere, probably it is, but the good news is that it's fully compatible, right? So there are no breaking changes between V1 beta and V1. Just change them.
So just change that to basically what it says here. Please migrate to the V1 iteration if you haven't already. They're identical.
Oh, there it is.
Yep. So do that. Okay. So we'll move on from that. Let's see here. The tooling this week was a little strange. A tool to generate a CLI parser from YAML-defined CLI. And, okay, so sometimes you don't need Cobra. I think that's the basic premise behind this. So you could define a YAML with the subcommands, and it goes off and generates, fills in the blanks, right? Get your skeleton built, and then you can have that. So if you don't need the full, what's the word I'm looking for? The full features of what Cobra can give you, if you're writing a Go-based CLI, this is interesting.
For all I know, this is code generator, right? Scaffold type of stuff. So nothing prevents you really from using Cobra afterwards. It just creates methods for your functions.
Correct. So if you're just needing to crank out a very quick CLI just so you can prove something out, this may be even better for you, right? Does this feel right? Does this, versus if you're trying to do that with Cobra, unless you've done it a lot, it's going to take you probably longer, I would guess. Because Cobra has all those extra blocks that you've got to get right, and new classes and or it's not even called classes. Sorry, my Java's coming through. Huh?
Functions?
Functions, yeah. Anyway, I just thought this was cool, right? In general, I thought it was just like a quick one. If like you were saying, if I just needed to scaffold something, it's like, okay, what's the user experience like for this?
mean, this is the equivalent of copying and pasting from Stack Overflow and then replacing stuff with your stuff. Just kind of, it immediately gets your stuff.
Yep. And the YAML spec is actually pretty straightforward. So I thought it was pretty cool.
Nice.
All right. KubeShop came out with TestCube, a Kubernetes native framework for test definition and execution. And I was scratching my head. Now, this isn't new. It's been out for a while. But I sent this over to some people that I work with, and they were going, oh, this is interesting. And it says it decouples test artifacts and execution from CI/CD tooling.
Wasn't it always decoupled?
Obviously not.
I really don't understand.
It shouldn't have been, right? It shouldn't have been.
I mean, the tools we know, that I know, that they don't have testing capabilities. Pipeline tools do not have testing capabilities baked in. They're just running some API, some CLI, something, whatever you specify in pipelines, right? Well, I might be missing something though, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me get to I had looked at this. Okay, here it is. So open a new tab. So my goodness. So it installs as a kubectl plugin. Thumbs up, right? So no extra CLI.
So far, so good.
Yep. And you can define a test, and then you can actually create Postman collections-based testing. So whatever test you're doing, you can pass in a collection, and off it goes to do tests. Again, I'm not... Go back.
Okay. So this is... Postman. Postman is behind all this. Okay.
Well, that Postman is one of the things you can do.
Okay.
Or you can do Cypress is another one. I'm assuming that's whatever. So, and then start the new execution. So kubectl TestCube scripts start my test name, whatever that is. And then it goes off and does whatever it is.
So this is it is wrapping some testing tools, CLIs, whatever, into a Kubernetes something, whatever.
That's what it feels like, yes.
Final object is.
Yeah.
And why is that better, or I'm still puzzled. Okay.
Well,
okay.
so
Capitals.
here, well, no, that's fine because I'm still confused, obviously. So this was all that. Okay, here's what it attempts to do. Let's go with this. Avoid vendor lock-in for test orchestration and execution.
But that's not what they're having is not test orchestration. Just to clarify, test orchestration is something that would orchestrate all those kubectl commands that you need to execute.
Yeah.
Right.
To me, again, being an old Java person, it just feels like I've defined my tests and it's just running them. But again, I haven't tested with it yet, so put this on your backlog.
No.
Okay. Anyway, I don't really understand it either, but available Postman, Cypress, and curl. A results DB, again, I'm not really sure why they're wanting to decouple. I mean, I understand why you want to decouple test and execution from CI and or CD.
Exactly.
I get it.
But that's what Postman and Cypress and curl are already doing. So kind of like their means to execute some tests. And then we have pipelines as means to orchestrate different executions of different things, right?
Yeah. So they have an API server, CRDs, or a CRD operator, executors, results DB, and then a browser. Here, just since we've already given them this much time, let's see what the dashboard looks like.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Okay, I'll let it. I'll let it go for right now. I'm not going to completely throw it under the bus, but I don't get it for right now. That's the way I feel. So yeah, TestCube. I'm going to give it this for right now. Right.
Try it out and let us know so that we don't need to try it out.
I have another list of things I have to get done before I can even look at anything else. TFA. I put this here just because it was weird to begin with, and I don't know if there will ever be an update to it beyond 3 days ago. It's a 2FA CLI that aims to help you generate 2FA codes within a pipeline. Okay, just forget CI/CD for a minute, just pipeline. So it's tool. So, okay, going back to, we were talking a couple weeks, was it last week before last, about some people that create Go CLIs that you still have to do a Go install. At least here he's got brew available. So got the tap, got all that out there, thumbs up. So what you can do is you can either pass in a key to TFA and it gives you a code, or you can do standard in to it and it can do the same thing. Which obviously this is a cleaner, or maybe not so obvious, a cleaner way so it's not seen on the command line or looking in processes or whatever. So at least that's truly secret.
So it would be, am I guessing right that this could be for pipelines that need to do something that requires two-factor authentication, and then, so will this give me the same result as what, I don't know,
As authenticator or
authenticator that
Authy,
requires
yeah.
actually 2FA?
I don't know.
I'm asking because I really don't know. I imagine that they all have different systems and give me different results.
I guess it depends on what secret is, right? How do you define the value of this secret?
Yeah.
I don't know. But if the question you just asked, if my answer to that was yes, then that's actually pretty cool. Because sometimes you have to short circuit around these systems, and number one, that's bad. And number two, it's not good. Which are both negatives. So I thought it was interesting enough to at least bring it up, right? Just that. And let's see, I think I had one more tool. Oh, qSSH. A simple wrapper for SSH to select profiles. So if you're living inside of profiles a lot, now it just gives you a cleaner way to use your profiles.
Oh, nice. That's really, really useful, actually. Or at least it was. I'm not sure how much
I don't
people
use profiles
SSH
a
anymore,
lot.
but... Huh?
I don't use profiles a lot with SSH.
I don't use it at all. But I was using it in the past heavily. Kind of like, working in a big company, and then basically every single server has a different... I had different profile for every single server that I need to access.
Yeah. So I thought it was cool. But sadly, you can either download or build it yourself. There is no brew install or take your pick package. So that's okay. It's only 3 days old. I'll have 3 days
Fair
old
enough.
today. Yeah. Okay. Let's get to your video for this week, which I haven't watched. I apologize.
Shame on you.
I just
I'm
haven't,
kidding, man.
haven't had time. So what was this about?
So it's about ArgoCD image updater. So basically, a simplified version of what it does is that
Okay,
it
time out.
watches-
So what is image updater? Tell me that, since obviously I'm
Yeah.
clueless.
Yeah, that's
that's
what
what
I
you're
was
doing?
about to say. Yeah.
I'll go
So
away
the
now.
image updater basically watches container registry for a specific image, and if there is a tag that matches some expression, kind of like any version 1 type of tag, it goes to a specific Git repository and updates a manifest. Basically changes, monitors container registry, and it changes tags in your manifest in a Git repo automatically, right? Or in other words, now if you forget about that, if you talk about pipelines, what I would normally do, you build the container image, you do run tests, you do whatever you need to do, and at one moment you push to registry, container image, and then what follows next is basically what image updater replaces. After that, I would clone a repository with manifests, do equivalent of sed, cut that file, sed to replace something with something else, and then push it back to Git repo, right? To change a tag with the new build that I just created. Now, so image updater is doing that part. Clone, monitor repo for changes, monitor registry for changes, clone repo, modify some tag in some manifest, and push it back up. And from there on, ArgoCD would do the typical, deployment of that something.
So it's just
So
boring
it's
from
not-
that point.
Exactly. So it's not kind of like, but the title might be misleading. It's not no pipelines in favor of GitOps. We do need pipelines, both before and after ArgoCD, right? We need pipelines to build container images. We need pipelines to run tests, to do many, many, many different things. It's just removing that part of modifying the manifests from the pipeline.
Got it. Okay. So with that in mind, and since we're here, you have a live stream coming up.
Oh, yeah.
This one.
I don't. We do.
We do, sorry. Have it.
There's your face over there. There is no escape, man.
Yep. So this one is coming up next Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern, but in Europe, daylight saving changes this weekend. Or at least it does for you, I think.
Yeah, you probably. I don't know.
You should find that out.
Google Calendar will tell me.
Well, at least the upside is you get an extra hour of sleep. That's this time of year. So
Nice.
that's what I'm looking forward to. And we have Anton coming over with us, and we're focusing on infrastructure and services.
Correct.
So this is going to be one thing that I'm going to try to do better that I wasn't as good about with the last one is try to stay on topic with either infrastructure or services. And anything
with
that
questions, you mean?
Yes, because it's an AMA, but it's an AMA about X, and X happens to be infrastructure and services this week. Whereas we were jumping all over the place last week,
Yeah. I mean,
which is fine, but I want
It's
to
a
try to keep
party.
it focused. Yeah, I want to try to keep it
Yeah,
focused.
yeah.
So that's
so kind of the important part is that if we jump over some question because it's not on topic, that question goes to the queue for the next one.
yep.
Right.
Wherever it lands for that one. So, okay.
Exactly.
All right. So that's coming up. You can sign up for a reminder on that. What else is going on? So we are. Do I have? Yeah, go ahead.
One interesting thing about that live show is that there is a chance, small chance, that you might see a fight between people in that session. It might get hairy.
So what you're saying is you and Anton are going to get into a fight.
I'm not saying we're gonna get into a fight, but there is a possibility of getting into a fight. Yes.
Okay. Good. Well, I'm glad I'm across the pond and don't have to deal with that. So.
Hey, there is always an option that actually we might end up both of us fighting you. We'll see.
Okay. All right. So anything else that you have going on this week? No?
No. The next week is the first week for a long time that I don't have a single conference type of stuff, so I will be able to do something useful for a change.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. So, oh, crap. The bats are here. No conferences. I need to talk to you about that too. I need to write that down. I need
Why?
to talk
Do
to
you
you
have
about
conferences in a queue waiting for me? Is that
No.
what you want to talk about?
it. No, but it's a different thing. But I need to talk to you about that. No, I have different problems of my own at this point. So,
Stay online.
what?
I mean, stay after this session, I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we've gone through everything. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Nothing special. Oh, I don't know anymore what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, do we just say
Something
Happy
will be
Halloween?
released on Happy Halloween. There you go.
That's
I want
what
to do
we
something
wanna
fun this weekend. I don't know even. I know it's kind of this is a period of Halloween, but when is Halloween itself?
Sunday,
This Sunday.
Sunday.
Okay.
31st.
Okay.
One of the few holidays that is global on the same day. Right? Because
Nice.
Christmas, depending on how you celebrate Christmas, Christmas can be December 25th. If you're Orthodox, it's in January. If you're
Yeah,
in Canada,
Orthodox.
it's in July or something. It's not July, but it's. But Halloween is one of those that's just October 31st. Done.
Where does it come? It's Mexican something, right? No.
You're talking about Day of the Dead.
Oh, that's Day of the. Is that? Does
That's
that
May
coincide
5th.
with Day of the Dead? The May
That's
5th.
May.
Okay.
That's May 5th. Yeah.
See, I'm not informed.
And the only reason, well, I think it's May 5th, but it's usually because that was my dad's birthday. And there was always, let's go eat tacos on May 5th or whatever it was. Okay. Different conversation. Okay. So let's, we're going to call it a day. That way we can all get back to work or go to sleep. Take your pick. I think that would be a good one too. And let's get back. So 2 things, actually 3 things for next week. We've got podcast coming out on Wednesday. We have the live stream with Anton on Thursday, and then we'll be back here again on Friday for this stream. Is there anything else? Did I miss anything? Huh?
I think that's it.
That's it. Okay.
No. Can never be sure, though.
That's for sure. Okay. So thanks for hanging out. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. If you're watching the replay, thanks for hanging out till the end. And we will talk to you again next week. And have a fun, safe Halloween.
Yeah.